That's awesome. Hello, people of the world. It's your favorite shop dwelling Sarah here with another vehicle review. And today I have the 2022 Honda Passport Trailsport Edition. It's an off-road version of the Passport. And today I'm going to get up in the air. We're going to nerd out over the tech specs, see how this thing is constructed, and then take it for a rip off-road and see how it does. So let's get this thing up in the air. There's one of my hairs hanging under the door of the truck. Damn, this thing's got some big ass tips. In contrast to the diameter of the piping, those things are massive. It's such a cute little beer can muffler. It's so tiny. I kind of like it though. It gives this thing a nice aggressive appearance, the ass end. And there's no spare tire under here. It's pretty much become standard practice at this point. I have to measure and see for myself. The rear anti-sway bar measures in at 26.5 millimeters. The Passport utilizes a multi-link rear suspension. I appreciate the fact that it's tubular though, links, and not just big flat pieces of stamped steel. It does have a coilover strut for the rear suspension. It's kind of interesting. Your rear subframe mounts up to the unibody right there, but there's also this little lateral brace, which is stamped steel, but I like that it has that. The rear differential unit is held in 4 different locations into the rear subframe. There's 2 up here in the front by the drive shaft. That's a cute little U-joint. It's adorable. Mitsuba, like a cross between an Evo and an STI. The Passport Trailsport Edition has what's called Honda's iVTM4 all-wheel drive system. It incorporates the ATTS system, which is active torque transfer system, that incorporates a set of twin electronically controlled clutches that's capable of torque vectoring 100% either left or right. And during cornering, it'll send 80% of the torque to the outside wheel, overdriving the inside wheel by 15% to aid in cornering ability. It also has some active yaw capabilities where it can overdrive the rear wheels by 2.7% in relation to the front, which means this thing is kind of like the NSX of crossovers. This is one of the most advanced and capable all-wheel drive systems I think I've been able to nerd out yet on a soccer mobile. That right there is why there's little beer can size mufflers in the back, because there's 2 huge mufflers. Yeah, I wouldn't even call that a resonator, underneath the center of the vehicle. The Trailsport edition of this 3rd generation Passport weighs in at 4,229 pounds. It is on the heavier side, but at least for the Trailsport edition, you get an additional skid plate right behind the front subframe. The hell, Honda? Why did you not put any coating on the knuckle? It's just raw steel. It's a big brown rusty knuckle. I would have to take this apart and get that powder coated if it was mine. Aluminium lower control arm and outer tie rod, that's interesting. And it has a 25mm anti-sway bar. Oh, that doesn't look fun. Oh, I should shut my mouth. That's actually a little bit clever, the way they designed this. Huh. Most transverse all-wheel drive layouts that I've seen, the subframe is flat and you have the drivetrain up above that coming off the back half of the engine. Honda, on the other hand, made their subframe go upwards and the drive shaft goes below it. So what you're left with is just this tiny little panel that your skid plate is attached to that is removable, and then you have complete access to all of the drivetrain. Yeah, that means you could drop the transmission and the transfer case without having to worry about a subframe blocking your access. There's no subframe to remove there. You just disconnect the CV shafts and separate it from the engine. It should be able to just drop straight down. That is a clever design. I like that a lot. I do wish that skid plate back there though continued all the way up front underneath all this stuff to protect it. And speaking of transmissions, there's only one available with this Passport. It is the ZF 9HP48. It is a ZF 9-speed automatic transmission that is factory rated at up to 480 Newton meters of torque or 354 pound-foot. So that means there is a ton of wiggle room in this drivetrain for you to add aftermarket performance mods to this vehicle and not have to worry about grenading the gearbox. It's time for the braking test. No one behind me? Ready? Ooh, there goes all my stuff. Those are fucking aggressive. Good brakes. Excellent brakes, as a matter of fact. Braking was just accomplished with a 2-pot front caliper and a 12.6-inch front rotor or 320 millimeters. The Trailsport edition comes with these 18x9 wheels. That's a pretty wide wheel for a soccer mom mobile. Actually gives it a 10 millimeter wider track than the other editions of the Passport. And they're wrapped in a 245/60 18-inch Firestone Wilderness LE2 tire, which seems like it's got some bite to it. Out back, you have a single pot caliper and a larger 13-inch rear rotor because of the parking brake, and the wheel and tire is square stanced. In the name of science, I am now going to give this thing the beans. That was so official sounding. I'm going to put this thing into sport mode. I have a D and an S to switch in between the two. And I'm going to defeat my traction control because that will probably do absolutely nothing, but just on the off chance it might make it a little bit more fun. Ready? Go. Okay. Angry. God, this engine sounds so fucking good. Roar, VTEC, roar. That's good. Yeah, this thing's pretty quick. That's not bad. I love the sound of this single cam J series. It sounds so good. Pop. Hey, that's not too bad. Under the hood of the 2022 Honda Passport Trailsport Edition is the J35 Y6 VCM. That is a 3.5 liter single overhead cam V6 that produces 280 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 262 pound-feet of torque at 4,700 RPM. And yes, it has VTEC. Technically it's iVTEC, which means it's only on the intake cam, and it engages at 5,350 RPM. The VCM in that acronym I just told you stands for Variable Cylinder Management, which this one has. And jeez, this plenum is a detailer's nightmare to have to try to clean inside there. That would be terrible. I guess you have to vacuum it out first or something. As far as a mechanic goes though, for being a transversely mounted V6, this is not bad at all. It's a 60-degree V6, so it makes it a little bit easier because both your cylinder heads are right here. They're not tucked away down, hidden underneath a wiper cowl. It's not too bad, actually. The single cam J series Honda V6 has an 89/93 millimeter bore and stroke, slightly undersquared, and 11.5:1 compression ratio. Does have direct injection and also employs an active noise canceling system, which I couldn't really find much information about. I don't see why anyone would want to cancel any noises that this engine produces, because in my opinion, Honda makes one of the best sounding naturally aspirated V6s period out there. Look at this thing on the inlet tube for the air box. It looks like a fish lung. I don't know if fish have lungs. Do fish have lungs? Fish have lungs. Or is their gill is their gill the lung? I should probably just stick to cars because I clearly am not very good at marine biology. Every off-road review must start with a bolstering check. It's okay. It does have these little flippy armrests on the side. You can lock them in place, different heights. Those kind of keep you in check. But I'm going to start this off-road test off with a little bit of a rally special stage because there's actually an HPD Maxxis Rally Raid version of this Passport. So in the spirit of things, let's see how it does at rally. I'm going to put it into sand mode. Both mud and sand modes give you a 50-50 torque distribution. So we'll use sand because it's closer to what it is. All right, go. Ooh. It's a kind of a big boat. I don't think I'm able to flick this thing around very well. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Rallying a soccer mobile. Hey, it let me get sideways. No way. All right, this is actually kind of fun. I mean, you can definitely tell this is a little bit larger of a vehicle, but it's actually really controllable. We'll go this way, out a little wide. Yeah, it lets you get it sideways a bit. That's awesome. Take this corner out here. Dude, this isn't too bad. Really good at changing directions for that tight section right there. It actually let me flick it around pretty easily. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. This thing is actually pretty fast. No joke, dude. This thing's actually pretty quick in a little rally special stage. Okay. Cameras set up. I'm going to keep this thing in sand mode. I think that makes sense for this hill climb. And I have confidence. I think I should do it. We'll see. Oh yeah. Man, it doesn't even struggle at that first part that so many crossovers struggle at. Oh, I gave it too much credit. I'll keep it matted. I think it'll do it. Like a champ. Dude, these things are awesome off-road. Where this thing is going to be limited off-road is because of the fact that it only has 8.1 inches of ground clearance, and it doesn't really have that great of skid plating underneath, so I can't be too crazy with this thing. It has a 21 and change-ish degree approach and a 24 and change-ish degree departure angle. I don't know. This hill is gnarly. I've only climbed it with one other vehicle before. But I feel this thing's all-wheel drive system is capable. I think the approach is too drastic. And I don't know about high centering over there at the top. I'm gonna give it a shot. I think I got the approach. Come on, you can do this. Holy shit, dude. Come on. You can do it. Stop driving when safe. All-wheel drive system too hot. I couldn't do it. That sucks because now I gotta back down this. Holy shit. Okay. This sucks. Well, I reached the limits of what this thing was capable of. So, the all-wheel drive system will overheat if you push it to its limits. I've only ever climbed that, I think, in the Lexus GX 460, which is a fucking tank. So, I think this does pretty damn good for what it is. Styling-wise, I like the look of these things, especially the front end. And the interior, with this Trailsport edition, you get the orange stitching everywhere and the orange embroidery on the headrest. It's nice. The infotainment system, it's clean and easy to use. It does not have the premium sound package that is available. This one I think is only 240 watts. It sounds okay. Everything in here is well built feeling. There's no rattles other than my camera gear shit in the back seat plopping around. Fuel economy wise, it does okay. Average like 23 miles per gallon over the week I've been driving it. It's not too bad. Tons of storage space in the back. It's a lot more room than my Forester out in the backpack, that's for sure. And the back seat's a little bit luxurious for being a $40,000 crossover. It looks like a drunk frog. It's got an outlet down here, a 110 outlet. I'd be curious to see what Honda could do if they actually built a dedicated off-road vehicle, because they seem like they have the tech there to make something pretty impressive. They actually really went all in on just an off-road vehicle. All right, let's give this thing a rating. You guys know what's up if you've seen my other reviews before or my other channel. If you haven't, you got time to kill, you should check it out. Anyway, first up is the bean score. It's an assessment on a 1 to 5 scale based on the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And this rig right here is getting a rating of, I was actually impressed. I think that's higher than I rated the Ridgeline. It felt a little quicker. It had a little bit more piss and vigor to it. I don't know where that saying came from. I'm guessing like 100 years ago, but I'm going with it. Anyway, next is the cookie score. It's assessment on a 1 to 5 cookie scale based on what you get for what you spend. And this Trailsport edition is getting a rating of 3.9 cookies. It's got pretty decent tech in here, lots of safety features, but what's enhancing the score the most is the fact that it's got a ZF transmission, a stout all-wheel drive system, and a Honda V6. There's a lot of high quality components that make up this vehicle. So that definitely is where you're getting your money's worth right there compared to its competitors. Next is the meatball score. This assessment on a scale of 1 to 5 meatballs based on a vehicle's ability to tackle obstacles off-road that smell like ham. Burger. Anyway, this Passport Trailsport is getting a rating of 2.9 meatballs. All this thing needs is a little bit more ground clearance, some better skid plates, and some way to keep the all-wheel drive system cooler. And I think this would do phenomenal off-road, considering it's not really intended to do off-roading. Next is the mechanic score. It's assessment of how much of an ass pain a vehicle would be to work on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being easy, 1 being a nightmare. And this Passport Trailsport's getting a rating of 3.4 wrenches, which is a healthy score for this kind of drivetrain configuration. And the reason why is because of the way that they routed the drive shaft underneath that front subframe and how easy it looks like it would be to work on anything transmission or all-wheel drive component related. Plus the engine bay, for being a V6 and transversely mounted, is not that bad either. Lastly is the Penguin score. It is a rating of 1 to 5 penguins based on how much I personally like a vehicle. And Passport Trailsport's getting a rating of 3.4 penguins. This right here is for the OG Honda boy or Honda girl that now has a family, likes to go camping, maybe lives in a snowy environment, but still has that inner VTEC yo in their heart. I'm so cringy. That just wishes that they could have an S2000 or a built turboed hatch. They can't now though, because they got a family. That's what you choose right there. That is the weapon of choice for a Honda family. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye.